As part of our food feature, we speak to a food blogger once a month, and today we're turning to Landi Govender, who is a blogger who admits to be obsessed with baking, chocolate, and everything sweet. Her posts on Instagram, and she's got about over 19,000 followers, I might add, on Instagram, are also filled with decadent desserts and delicious snacks that often had my mouth watering when I scrolled through. Welcome to the show, Landi Govender from Choc-hazelnut, food blog.
Hi, Bianca. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for making time for us today on CapeTalk.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Are you based in Johannesburg?
Yes, I am.
So you've been blogging since 2018. Tell us what got you started.
Well, I officially started my blog in 2018. I used to just basically share all of my food pictures on Instagram like everyone else. And I got so many requests for the actual recipes that I decided to start a blog. So yeah, here we are now.
So it just grew from just simply sharing because you are kind to actually becoming, is it your main business, or do you have a different job in your life?
I'm actually a graphic designer, but my blog is just my whole life at the moment, yeah.
Okay, so you're managing your social media daily?
Basically, yes.
And COVID must have given you a lot of time and sort of ideas to expand all your recipes.
Yes, COVID was quite a tricky time, and I think I decided to. I think I expanded much more during COVID, learning how to make bread from scratch and a lot of our favorite meals that we would usually go out for and making them at home.
Now, blogging isn't just about the food. It's also about the look. So I would imagine that being a graphic designer has been very beneficial in terms of how you style your page, because your page is really visually a real treat for the eye. Is your food photography and styling something that you're also passionate about?
I have actually developed a passion for food photography and now like food videography. I just love seeing the food I make come to life through my lens, basically. Yeah, it is quite, I love like getting everyone all like excited over like drizzling chocolate and that cheese pull and all of like seeing the food come to life.
Just remind our listeners the name of your blog. It's Choc-hazelnut, correct?
It's the Choc-hazelnut, yes.
The Choc-hazelnut. And that's spelled Tocka and then blog. Correct?
Yes, that's right.
The Choc-hazelnut.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's discuss baking without further ado.
Okay.
Baking can be rather expensive. What kind of tips can you give our listeners on how to produce great desserts without breaking the bank and keeping it simple?
Oh, I would say, we can save a lot of money from like omitting eggs from our recipes. Like I found like a lot of my blog viewers, they always ask me like, what can we, use instead of eggs? Because have you seen the price of eggs these days? It's ridiculous.
Yes.
So I'm always giving like tips on like, instead of like using eggs, using like plain yogurt or like mashed banana or flaxseed if you're vegan. So there's also like a lot of different tips that I do share on my blog in order to just cut back a bit on all the desserts that we love and still be able to enjoy all the desserts that we love making at home.
So while I'm talking to you, I'm looking at your Instagram feed, and something that has jumped out at me is this berry yogurt and chocolate bark recipe.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it looks nice and simple.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that recipe. So it's just really yogurt, berries, and chocolate. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Basically, I think that was like a trend on TikTok that I just had to get started on as well. It was so simple, and I thought to myself, this seems a bit too good to be true until I tried it, and I was like, this is actually a very, like, if you're like trying to eat healthy and you still have a sweet tooth like me, this is such a simple way, and my kids also really enjoyed it as well. So
tell us how to make it.
So you just need a plain yogurt, or you can use your favorite yogurt. You can use your favorite berries. I chose raspberries. And you just mix the fruit and the yogurt in a bowl, and then just like lay on like little a dollops of the mixture on baking paper and pop that in the freezer for like an hour or until frozen. And then once frozen, you just dip each piece in melted chocolate and it freezes automatically, and top with some sea salt if you like, and enjoy basically, yeah.
So that's interesting. You take the frozen yogurt, so to speak, and put it into into the chocolate that you choose, and it immediately goes hard.
Yes, because it's frozen. So as soon as the chocolate hits the frozen yogurt, it just like hardens immediately.
And I think melting the chocolate is probably the trickiest part of this recipe, right?
Probably. It's actually really simple.
How do you do that? Because I know that a lot of that's usually where I mess up. I burn the chocolate. Mm-hmm. Okay, so everything's looking good, and then suddenly because I'm a little bit impatient, But can you do it in the microwave, or do you have to temper it over water or something?
I actually always use my microwave to melt chocolate. I don't have the patience for the whole stovetop over water. So what I do is I put my chocolate bits into a bowl, and then I microwave it at 30-second increments, and I mix in between just until it gets to your melt, the exact consistency that you're looking for, like a nice, silky, melted consistency. And then we just leave it at that. We don't microwave further than that.
And is there any particular chocolate that you recommend to work with when it comes to baking?
I would say, well, it depends what you're baking. I would say if you're baking, I bake with almost every single brand of chocolate out there. Milk chocolate to your dark chocolate. I would say it depends on what you're making.
And your taste.
Yeah. Yes, and your taste.
Because
not
dark
everyone
chocolate
is into dark chocolate.
Yeah, I love dark chocolate. That bitterness is
Me
great.
too.
And I like the way that you add salt to it and give it that mix it up a little bit. I'm speaking to food blogger Landi Govender from the Choc-a food blog. If you have any questions for our guest, you can call us on 021 446 0567, or you can send us a voice note or a question on 072 567 1567. Here's a question that's come through on the WhatsApp line. What happens to the food when the photography is finished?
We eat it. Let me tell you, my family, they get so frustrated with me sometimes because they're like, can you just hurry it up? So the minute I shut my camera off, I have these little hands just popping into the plate, grabbing everything. So trust me, everything gets eaten.
I actually quite like the end of your videos when you taste your food. Your whole face lights up. It's very tantalizing.
My favorite part.
I think it's very important.
My favorite part.
Yeah, it's very important to taste your food, right? As a cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that once the food is cooked, no one's eating it. It just gets, but trust me, in our house, there's no leftovers.
It's going down the hatch.
Absolutely.
Tell us now a little bit. Let's move from the sweet treats, because it's not just about sweet treats. I've loved seeing your fried halloumi strips on Avo, but your Parmesan crusted potatoes was something that were quite interesting to me. Now, this is something I've seen a lot on online recipes, this kind of gooey, cheesy Parmesan addition to potatoes or carrots or any vegetable. I can't get it right. Okay, so I want to know, what is the secret to getting that right? How do you elevate, as you say on your blog, the hardest working vegetable?
The hardest working vegetable?
Yeah.
Okay, first I must ask, what exactly are you doing with your Parmesan?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing it wrong. I have a feeling that the problem is I'm grating it, right?
Okay.
And then I'm sprinkling it over, but it doesn't form that lovely film at the bottom. Is it to do with what baking paper you use? Because I've sensed that's the problem. It seems to stick to whatever I put it on, and then it's just all over.
Yeah, I would say like definitely baking paper works wonders because it's like nothing sticks to it. So it's going to stick to whatever vegetable you are sprinkling it on. So definitely use baking paper. It's not the same as wax as that wax wrap.
Right.
So yes.
I think that
No
could be where
different.
one I could be going wrong. So it has
Right.
to be baking paper. You don't
Yes.
oil it or anything like that, right?
No, nothing like that. I just put the baking paper on there, and then you sprinkle on your parmesan, and you lay your potatoes on the top, and pop it in the oven, and it's done.
Do the potatoes have to be boiled before or anything?
The reason why I go with parboiling the potatoes is just so that I don't want the parmesan to burn. So it cooks much quicker, because the parmesan can get very dark and can leave like a bitter taste.
This is sounding like
just
what mine
do-
looks like.
Oh, sorry.
So you boil the baby potatoes. You dry them, obviously. You have to.
and then spice them, and just add a little bit of olive oil, and then layer them over that parmesan crust.
What spices do you use?
For potatoes, I go for like herby spices, like your oregano. I also would go for like chili flakes, depending on your taste buds. I do like a little bit of like a herby, spicy hit.
And then you lay them on a baking sheet. Put them in the oven for how long?
I think about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've also done some collaborations with big brands. Tell us a little bit about that. And then we want to know about your favorite, not favorite, your most commented on recipe or downloaded recipe.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So, most of the brands that I work with, I always try working with brands that I love. I have to like fall in love with the brand first, and then be like, okay, I'm always open up. Like, if the brand has to approach me, I'm more than open to collaborating with them, because I use them, and I can honestly say, and I can honestly like put it out there that I want everyone else to try it as well. So
Yes.
that's very important.
It needs to be authentic, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's very important to me, because I wouldn't want anyone else to waste their money on a product that I don't love, you know what I mean? And that I'm not using myself.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me. And as for the recipe that's the most viewed, I would say, on my blog, it's definitely my, I think I made a chocolate hazelnut cake a few years ago. I think when I first started my blog, and it is still to date the most viewed recipe on my blog.
A chocolate hazelnut cake.
Yes.
And is it is it a chocolate cake, like a dense chocolate cake, or more light and fluffy?
Oh no, it is dense. It's made from like meringue and hazelnuts.
Okay, sounds
and like
delicious.
a chocolate cream filling. It's extremely rich and decadent, and people seem to love it a lot.
My guest is Landi Govender from the Choc-blog, food blog. Just tell our listeners, Landi, how they can follow you, get hold of you, put out your handles before we go to news. You've got a couple of seconds. Go for it.
Okay. You can follow me on Instagram at the Choc-blog. You can follow me on there. I post all of my recipes and all of my baking tips. You can join.
Okay. Thank you, Landi, so much for your time today. And thank you for all your delicious recipes. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.